Next on the chopping block. Listen, we did a great thing yesterday. We got rid of Sheldon Rankins. Okay? We saved a lot of money. We also signed Cal, our long snapper, which I've now found out a lot of people didn't know who Cal was. Cal is our long snapper. We signed him to a 1-year contract. So we're just doing some maintenance behind the scenes type of stuff. We're going to be doing this for the next next week, a couple weeks until free agency. But we have players like Travion Williams. We'll probably sign him to a future deal. Joe Bacci. I think Cade York will probably end up signing to a future deal, having him compete with Evan McPherson in training camp. Chris Evans, Deontay Smith, Jackson Kirkland is actually coming off his injury. Jay, Tanner Hudson. Those guys will be signed as time goes on. The only guys that are questionable right now, whether or not they will be back, is pretty much everyone Joseph Asai and above. Asai, Cam Sample, Clear Herbert, Akeem Davis Gaither, Cody Ford will probably be back as well. Marco Wilson probably will end up being back as like on a 90-man roster. Trent Brown, he'll probably gone. Mike Gesicki, hopefully he comes back. BJ Hill, T. Higgins, and Hilton. All of them we want back. And then Von Bell, just become a positional coach, buddy, and you can work out very well for us. But anyway, $61.657 million. The next guy on the chopping block, I think we can all agree on. Let me go down this list here. Alex Cappa. I'm actually kind of surprised that Sheldon Rankins was cut before Cappa, but it does make sense. Sheldon Rankins needed to get cut in order to save us extra money. So he had a $2 million roster bonus. And if he was on the roster as of March 17th, then he would get an extra $2 million. So he needed to get cut before March 17th. Obviously, we are way in advance of March 17th, but he just needed to get cut for that reason. So it saved us $2 million in the end. But in the end, he was going to get cut no matter what. But I'm kind of surprised Cappa was not the first to go. I think the only reason why Cappa is not the first to go is because they have time to think about that situation. What I assume they're going to do is kind of drag their feet with the Cappa situation, because as fans, we all know he needs to go. We all know he needs to get cut, right? But they're going to go into free agency, see what options are available. If they don't find a replacement for Cappa right away in free agency, I could see him remaining on this roster for another solid month or so. And then once they get to the draft, then they're going to really look at their options in the draft. Because how I look at it is like this. They're not going to go into training camp without a guy they think is capable of being a starting right guard for this team. Now, if we go into training camp and we don't have a replacement for Cappa, we're going to be in a lot worse of a shape than just, hey, you don't have the guy. There's going to be some problems. Okay? And I'm talking about from fans here, there's going to be some issues. If Kappa's still on this roster in training camp and we don't have a replacement, there's going to be issues. But I think that's kind of the situation with Cappa, is they don't have a direct replacement that they feel comfortable with. Because who is his backup right now? Cody Ford? I don't think they're comfortable with Cody Ford being the starter right guard, because Volson sucks. And Volson is good backup depth, as rotation purposes if you need him, but you don't trust him as a starter anymore. And if you don't trust him as a starter, Cody Ford has to be that left guard. Though as fans, we preach that, why don't you just put Teddy K at left guard, give Matt Lee the starting job at center and work with that. That's not how they work. They want Cody Ford to either be left tackle or left guard. Obviously, if Orlando Brown is hurt, he's left tackle. If not, he's left guard. I don't know if Cody Ford can play right guard or how well he plays right guard, but they don't really want that. So I think that's kind of how they're looking at it right now. There's no replacement for Cappa. The motto, don't quit your job until you have a replacement for your job, right? That's kind of that situation they're looking at, in my opinion. So the next guy on the chopping block, and Sheldon Rankins had to get cut because of the roster bonus. But if Sheldon Rankins didn't have a roster bonus of $2 million, he might not have gotten cut yet. They might have waited. So that's kind of my thought process with Alex Cappa. With Sam Hubbard, he needs to be cut next. He needs to go. Listen, at the end of the day, I think Sam should retire. And that's just my personal opinion. Obviously, he's 30 years old. But now coming off of an injury last year where he played, but he was injured. Then he got injured again later in the season. I love him. I really do. And I never want to see Sam playing for any other colors but Bengals colors. But he needs to retire. Just call it quits, man. Hang it up. And, if anything, you could work with the Bengals. Come back and become a positional coach. Maybe not obviously not going to be the defensive line coach, but maybe you could be like an assistant role, right? Just come back and play for us in some capacity, work for us in some capacity, because we all love you here, man. But first off, you're costing way too much money at $11 million. That's just, it's unreasonable to say we're going to spend $11 million on you, man. We just can't. We can't do that moving forward. You're not giving us the production for the value we're paying. It just isn't logical to do that. We need to move on from Sam Hubbard. I think Sam Hubbard will be the next big cut off of this roster. It just makes logical sense to go ahead and move on from him. We're not going to get rid of Jermaine Pratt until we trade him. We're not going to cut him. We're going to trade him. And most likely we're going to trade him to the Colts. With that being said, just like the Cappa situation, this is why everything is so wild here. I know everyone they want it right away. Right? As fans, we want stuff right away. Get rid of this guy. Do this, do that, do this. What are you waiting for? But teams look at things in a more logical point of view. The Colts might not. They're going to want to trade for Pratt, right? But they can't trade for Pratt until free agency, right? Closer to free agency is when trades start talking. So they're not right now. They're not going to trade for Pratt. They're going to wait until free agency happens. They're going to look at the options available in free agency. If they go into free agency, let's say the Colts do, and they say, "Hey, we got this guy, this guy, this guy," and they find that they want Nick Bolton, and Nick Bolton wants to be an Indianapolis Colt, and they get Nick Bolton, they're not trading for us with Pratt. Right now, Pratt's not going to go anywhere. We're not going to cut him because we're going to wait to trade him. We're going to wait to see other teams want him. And I think the Colts, what they're going to do is kind of drag their feet as well and wait to see what, options are available for them in free agency. So that's kind of how I feel like the Pratt situation will go, is that will be kind of dragged out until potentially very close to free agency, if not early free agency. Because I think the Colts are going to kind of weigh their options. Because again, Pratt's not going anywhere. I highly doubt we have any other team lined up right now, especially with how the Bengals negotiate trades. They always want to win. They always want to come out on top. They always want to come out as the best. I highly doubt they have any situation right now where they're sitting there saying, Pratt, we have 70 offers. No. And the Colts know that. I mean, Lou Anarumo was on our team for 5 years. He knows exactly how we work. He's probably telling the Colts front office, we could take our time on this one. There's no way in heck that the Bengals are getting any offers for that guy. Not for how the Bengals do their trades. So we're going to wait on that one. That's going to be traded eventually. But I wouldn't expect that to happen anytime soon. Next on the chopping block is Zach Moss. Now, I don't think Zach Moss will get cut. I believe he will not. But it's very possible he does. It's a situation like this. Do the Bengals feel that one, they can get back Khalil Herbert at a good enough price? Number two, free agency could net them another running back. Or three, they're going to draft one. And I think there might be a situation where we tell him to take a pay cut. And if he takes a pay cut, he'll stay on the roster. So I think we keep him in the end, but it's very possible we get rid of him, but I think we keep him. So that puts us at $77 million after signing our punter, after signing our long snapper, still having to sign some of these other guys, but that kind of puts us at $77 million. And I think that's kind of where we are going to, sit. Once we cut Cappa, which we will eventually again, we have to get that replacement. We'll be at $85 million. So $85 million once we get rid of Cappa. And yeah, I think the rest of these guys we're probably going to keep or somewhat work out something with. So definitely tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.